right, hello everybody, and welcome back. Apologies for the delays, but Sin and I are back here again. Again, the opening broadcast of our Week 6 coverage, the home stretch in our spring season. And Sin, what a matchup we have coming up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially what could end up being a finals preview and what has been the finals for the last 3 seasons for Lunda and hREDS going head to head here and I mean what could be perhaps the biggest matchup broadcast of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, again, as you kind of alluded towards, and as we mentioned earlier on the cast, this has been our finals matchup for the past 3 seasons. They saved the best for last, as these will be the final 2 games of hRED's 30-game campaign. Before we get into the breakdown, though, again, a reminder of what we have seen so far. Of course, earlier on in this broadcast, our first matchup that we brought to you, it was Yippee Vaskala against Roots, the team splitting that series. And you get a look at some of the more recent results. And again, sent a lot of teams in interesting spots. Goons splitting the final 2 games of their season against Färjestad. So both teams getting 3 big points there. Conquer taking a point or two away from Havu Gaming. It's just been an incredible season to watch. And of course, it's still not quite done yet.
No, yeah, and it's kind of crazy to see what happened to kind of IQ season. We saw them with so many games in hand, but they just weren't able to really figure it out. You see them in those 2 matchups there, just getting, a single point against Sawa and a single point against Roots. But I mean, how about some of the Roots' latest matchups? I mean, again, they took the 2 points off Yipivaska, but 2 shutouts against HG71, getting the 2 wins against IQ as well. They've just been really making their push here at the end of the season.
Of course, a look at the standings as they happen to be, as we alluded towards, again, a 30-game regular season. Goons already completing those full 30 games, so they await to see what position they will finish with in a postseason spot. And of course, hREDs already securing the top spot in the regular season. But of course, regular season championships, not exactly what they have in mind. They have greater aspirations than that. While Frölunda still right there, neck and neck with Sawa Esports. So a big set of games here for them as they look to secure the 2 seed. Of course, Sawa did finish ahead of them last season. And Sin, as we get a look at the standings as a whole, of course, the top 8 teams are the ones to make the playoffs. Still a lot to play for the likes of Färjestad and ZSC Esports, not exactly out of the playoff situation. And then a little bit further down, as we've talked about, 13, 14, and 15 finish in a relegation battle spot where they'll have to play a Pro Division team, while 16th is automatically relegated. So IQ, again, a lot of pressure. They finished 5th last year, as we have mentioned numerous times throughout these broadcasts this season. And again, a shocking result for them if they were to be automatically relegated. It's incredible, Sin. Some anywhere between 6 and 2 games left to play, but still so much to play for every single team in this division.
Yeah, absolutely. And for IQ, the best they could hope for is just getting their way into position where they can at least battle for their place here in the elite division. It'd just be so crazy to see them go from, fifth seeding to automatically back to the pro division. So they're definitely going to need to turn it on here for the last 4 games of the season. But really the only like realistic shot of, jumping ahead of someone is stargazing who have those 2 games in hand.
Absolutely. So again, still so much to play for. Sportsgamer.gg. All the information that you need to follow along, of course, this season. A reminder, though, Sin and I will be back here tomorrow for more coverage of the Elite Division. While we're about to see Frölunda in action, they will also be in action tomorrow against ZSC Esports, and the Fallon Coal Miners take on Stargazing, a very important battle there in those relegation spots. And of course, we'll also have more games this Wednesday. Yippee Vaskala and Färjestad on deck. Of course, I'll have another matchup there for you as well, as I do presume. So still so much to play for here as we march on. And of course, in now, as we get ready for this particular matchup, very, very intrigued to see what will happen here as you get a look at the team stats.
Yeah, honestly, it's incredibly close team stat wise when you look at goals for, goals against. Obviously, the edge going to hREDs, an identical power play, percentage, which is not too often you see that, but it's that penalty kill from hREDS. It was 100% for so much of the season. Looks like they finally allowed a goal or two, but 97.22% penalty kill. It's just defensively, hREDS is the best. They are the pedigree for the ECL elite, and while they do that, they're still able to throw up 98 goals for as well. I mean, the most amount of goals for, the least amount of goals against. It's there's this is the reason that they're number one in this league. And I mean, my goodness, they are just the ultimate team essentially.
I mean, that's the version of Ultimate Team that I prefer at the
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
least. Let me tell. I'll say that as often as I can. But indeed, I mean, two incredibly explosive offenses to say the least. It is very interesting though, like you kind of mentioned with the even power play percentages. We are awaiting word here as to just how soon this matchup will get underway. So we will see just what we are able to do here in terms of this particular setup here as we get ready again for these games ahead. And, for the moments, I guess we can go ahead and throw to the lineups that we have here for this particular matchup, at least as we are expecting them to be. There's no point in beating around the bush. People in the scene will know. We currently have a player that we are awaiting to be available here, as they might just have another series that they are currently trying to finish up for something outside of the ECL. So the moment kind of stuck in limbo. We think the action will get underway sooner rather than later, or at least so we hope it's in. These are the lineups that we project to see for Frölunda: Playmaker, Eki, and Flyer Kungen, Potsloff and Loimo on defense with Kape between the pipes, and hREDS, of course, Villapoika, Benito, and Nike. Of course, the rebranded mid-season rebranding for the former Nicky Dangles with Domi and King of Apes on the blue line, and of course, FaZe in goal. So we'll take a look at the centers, Eki and Benito, and unsurprisingly, Sin, of course, Eki has fit in so well at center. A lot of people when he was on the wing said, man, his play style might be better suited to play center, but it just goes to show how versatile he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Just an extremely versatile player, and it's been more of an adjustment here. His point total is perhaps a bit lower than you expect to see from, the player named Eki, but he's still been insanely effective, obviously. And, he's got a solid face-up percentage, 46 points as well. And, he brings that excellent defensive presence that he always had on the wing. He brings it to center where it can have more of an impact as well. That's only beneficial for him. And then, of course, you have Benito over there, the top point producer right now in the ECL with 62 points, 27 goals, 35 assists. He has just been lights out for this hRED squad.
We'll look over at the wingers here as well. But again, two of the best there down the middle for the winger matchup. Four of the best that this division has to offer. It is Playmaker, Flyer Kungen for Frölunda, Villapoika, and Nike on the other side there for hREDS. And I mean, talk about the wingers for Frölunda here, Playmaker. Certainly a return to form in a sense, looking as dominant almost as ever. And of course, Flyer Kungen has fit in tremendously well, but the other two for hREDS have been absolutely superb.
Yeah, and maybe again, a slower season than we perhaps expected out of Villapoika, but he's still a great goal scorer, and still is able to put up those points, and definitely going to be a threat in the playoffs. Always seems to be able to find himself in those locations to get those pucks on his stick. And on the flip side, you see there, Mr. Playmaker with 62 points, good enough to tie Benito for the top amount of points in the ECL. And yeah, again, I think you alluded toward it. Flyer Kungen has just fit in perfectly on this Frölunda squad. He brings a great presence that can, get as close to matching Eki as you can see, despite their varying play styles and things. But he has just been a really, really good addition to this Frölunda squad, which was already strong.
The defensive matchup that we have here as well. Again, it is Potsloff and Loimu squaring off against Domi and King of Apes. And again, a rather interesting matchup here, since all of these guys certainly more than capable of putting up points.
Yeah, and there's only one of them who isn't quite at the point per game mark, and that's Loin, but he's only 2 points behind the eight ball there. And It's just the best of the best when it comes to this matchup here. Obviously, Potslov coming back from the center role into that left D really has not looked out of place in one bit. All these guys just so talented as all around NHL players, and you see it when it comes to it, and when they're able to swap positions and things like that. But yeah, Domi, King of Apes, perhaps we could argue the best defensive pairing because. Well, how do you even argue that with the with what they're able to do on the points there? Not only putting up goals and assists and things like that, but the way their blue line shutdown works, it's a thing of beauty to watch.
Our final head-to-head here, of course, as always, it is the goaltenders, two of the best, to say the least. It is Kape and FaZe. FaZe, easier said than done today, with it being hRED's final two games of the season, but pushing all year long for that record of shutouts in a season that Kape currently has. Will probably finish just short, but an absolutely astonishing stat line.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous. And under 1 goals against average. Yeah, just the 10 shutouts, but it's I mean unreal. And maybe if he hadn't, missed any games at some point, he could have been able to come for that record. But if you're hREDS and if you're FaZe, you only got one award in mind, and that's getting back to the top of the mountain once again and getting that championship under their belt once again and being able to secure that grand finals prize pool without even having to play it.
So with that, everybody, you get a look at the lineup and the matchup ahead. Fortunately, I do hate to have to tell you, though, we are going to take a brief step away. The action set, unfortunately, still waiting for everything to get set up in terms of the team. So we will be back as soon as we possibly can be for the start of this series. Again, 2 games coming up between Frölunda and hREDS. We'll be back in just a few. All right, everybody, we are finally back. First and foremost, a gigantic thank you to those of you currently watching the broadcast for sticking with us, and a gigantic thank you to the likes of Frölunda for tremendous patience here to set up what is going to be 1 game sin between Frölunda and hREDS officially. Call it a walkover, call it a forfeit from hREDS due to conflicting schedules, as we will call it. Frölunda will technically get credited with a win for the first matchup, but we will still have the second game and what will prove to be hRED's final game of the season coming up here to cap off this broadcast. A quick look again at what the lineups are for this particular matchup here, as again, it is pretty much the 6 sin that you would expect to see in the lineup for this contest. Again, Playmaker, Eki, and Flyer Kungan, Potslav, Loimu, and Kape for Frölunda, Villapoika, Benino, Nike, with Domi, King of Apes, and FaZe for hREDS. Now, of course, this has been the finals matchup for 3 seasons running sin. And now heading into the playoffs, hREDS, hey, if there was ever a time for a walkover, this was it. I mean, they already have, again, the #1 seed locked up. I'm sure a team like Sawo, who are desperately pushing Frölunda for that second seed, might not be happy with today's turn of events, as Frölunda now that much closer, perhaps, to locking down that 2 seed. Very, very important for them to be able to do that. But heading into this matchup, again, we've talked about it all season long as we, get into this game here. The idea for Frölunda, the idea of making the changes, of bringing in Flyer Kungan, was to push hREDS and stop them from not only winning 3 in a row, but winning both seasons here in ECL 22. Because, of course, if they do that, there is no grand final. That was the new format for this season, winter and spring. Hopefully, you end up with a grand final. hREDS won the winter season. They're right now going to be in first at the end of the regular season here in spring. And if they win another championship here, they win that grand final prize without needing to play another game. So for Frölunda, again, you talk about this matchup now and what they're looking at, their expectations and optimism heading into this season. It's going to be very intriguing to kind of see now what this matchup looks like, given again that this will be hRED's final game of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it was a bit of anticlimactic because this was, we saving kind of the best for last, so to speak. An end of the year matchup between the two teams, which may meet again once again in the finals here. But this 1 game that they're gonna play, it's high stakes as always when these two teams collide. There's a lot of emotion in it, a lot of kind of back and forth, some on ice chirps, so to speak, and things. And the games are always exciting to say the very least, no matter how they go. You think back to the final, even a couple seasons ago, where every game was decided by one goal besides that one kind of blowout outlier. And even at the year when Frölunda swept hREDS, at times it seemed it was a bit tighter than it had seemed, with the result and things like that. And that's just kind of how it goes between these two teams. And definitely exciting hockey to be played here.
Two of the best teams in the world. If you're members of hREDS, you certainly argue the best team in the world, and that is very tough to disagree with. Again, we talked about it though. The 10,000 euro prize for the victor of the grand final. If hREDS continue their dominance in the playoffs like they have here in the regular season, they will win that prize without having to face a different team. Of course, the playoffs beginning very, very soon. This is our final week of the regular season here in our spring competition for ECL 22. Again, you've seen the standings all throughout the broadcast. So much to play for, and still a lot to play for here for these two teams, because this is their only example here in the ECL of playing one another this season. And instead of 2 games, it's only going to be the one. A reminder, though, here really quickly, of course, Sin and I will be back tomorrow, 1945 CEST. It's 1:45 p.m. Eastern. For those of you on the North American side, CST Esports do take on Frölunda, and the following coal miners take on Stargazing. So again, 1945 CEST, and again, about 1:45 Eastern for those of you on the North American side to join Sin and I tomorrow for more ECL Elite Division action. But for now, Sid, we focus on the biggest matchup that we can have here. One and done in terms of these games. Again, for Frölunda getting a walkover victory, a forfeit, call it what you will. hREDS not able to field a team for that first game, but they are ready to go here for this second matchup, and we'll see how this plays out. Again, hRED's final game of the season, as you do have Frölunda in the, well, you want to say predominantly red home jerseys, and of course a fair amount of red from hREDS on their kits as well. But again, very intrigued, especially after what was a fair amount of waiting from Frölunda to get the action underway. Very intrigued to see how this plays out, especially in the early stages.
It was a nice shot back in the end by the defense of hREDS here to be able to spring this counterattack after Frölunda was kind of pushing to get a forecheck opportunity.
Benito there has the puck down low. Of course, the captain of this hREDS team, also rocking the golden helmet as his team's leading scorer. He enters play today. What a great kick save there by Kape. Benito enters play today, tied for first in points in the league with Playmaker, the man wearing the golden helmet and in possession of the puck right now for Frölunda. So again, two very explosive offenses going head-to-head, and Frölunda, unfortunately, is for them not able to find any space there trying to get over the line.
Yeah, you can just see how creative they're trying to get to be able to break down that blue line presence of hREDS. They're just so good. You see King of Apes come in with the poke check. The puck got deep into the zone loose, but unfortunately for them, hREDS right back in possession. We're seeing early on a bit of a neutral zone game between these two. Both of them very good defensive teams, very skilled, been around the block, so to speak, for a long time.
This is our final game of this broadcast, and the only example that we might see entirely of these two teams going head-to-head in this spring season, unless they were to meet in the finals one more time. King of Apes across and just out of the reach of Villapoica. Domi shot is blocked. Frölunda look to get going down the other way. We're already halfway through this first period, but again, great blue line defense there from hREDS.
Yeah, excellent job. I mean, that's kind of their bread and butter. That's what we've been saying now for the better part of, well, in this third season, essentially here as since they've become the champs and then went back-to-back, and here they are once again looking for the three-peat, and every single season it's the same thing. They are insanely good defensively, and it starts at the blue line for them.
The face-off here. It is going to be hREDS in control. They're able to do is they try to weave their way through the neutral zone and gain some offensive zone time. Offside call there. Might be plenty of those in this matchup. Again, it is our first look at this new Frölunda team against hREDS, who have kept their team the same for now, I believe, the past 3 seasons, Sid. I mean, ever since they started going to the final. Although easy to lose track of time for how long someone like Nicky Dangles, FaZe have been a part of this hREDS squad, but they found that 6-man unit. They've been able to climb to the top of the mountain and hold down that spot. The catalyst for Frölunda to make these changes And if they weren't motivated before, certainly the patience they had to display before heading into the matchup is a factor here as Nikki Dangles unable to get that one on net. Villapoika gets it back, and Kape down, and the butterfly makes the save.
Yeah, we've really had the kind of the privilege of being able to watch the development of hREDS. They kind of came in as we were pretty fresh into our broadcasting careers here in ECL, and you said it, they went through, quite a few changes. King of Apes started as a depth player for them. In the first game we saw him, he was playing left defense side, and there's just something about his gameplay where you knew that he was going to be an impact player at some point in the ECL, and well, here he is, perhaps one of the best defensemen in the Elite Division, playing for the best team, perhaps, in the world.
EK tried to get that over to Benito. Able to do so. Can't hold on to that one. Already under 3 minutes to go here in the first period. Again, for those that missed it, Frölunda, a forfeit or a walk-over victory, call it what you will, in that first game. So this is our only game between these two teams. They have met in the finals for the past 3 seasons. Frölunda, the most accomplished team that we have perhaps ever seen here in the Elite Division. They're strong lineages for certain clubs here, but they have been among the best, if not the very best. And hREDS certainly have staked their claim to, that throne as well after winning back-to-back titles, the first time that has ever happened in the history of the Elite Division. Here we go, perhaps one more chance for either side. Big stretch past the playmaker. He has a step, and he loses it on the back check. Might have tried to pass it backwards, but a huge opportunity goes to waste for Frölunda at the buzzer.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened. It looked like he went to the forehand. Maybe he tried the Datsuk pullback and just ended up losing the puck, or perhaps you said the back checker would have been King of Apes in that scenario. Perhaps got a defensive skill stick on it. I would love to be able to maybe see a replay of that and just see exactly what happened, because that looked like a clear-cut opportunity for Playmaker and a good chance for Frölunda to get a late first period goal. But fortunately for them, the opportunity went by the wayside there. Just the one registered shot into that period in just 34 seconds time on attack as well. So unfortunately, not able to get too good of a look at that, but see here, these replays shows a heck of a lot. That's the one registered shot. It was a great opportunity coming out from Frölunda. The pass up high and the one time trying to cut across the goaltender, but FaZe not fooled whatsoever, stayed in position and squared up to that to the puck, was able to turn that aside, and we enter the second period still scoreless between these two teams. hREDS have gotten the better of the chances, but chances have been hard to come by, as you would expect between two teams as good at defense as they are.
Second period underway here, still looking for our opening goal of this contest. Good space here for Nike. Can't get that shot off either. Both teams stifling and canceling one another out here. Apes gets that pass over to Domi. Okay, King of Apes, great movement. Benito back to him. Shot, a great glove save by Kape. I mean, Sim, we've seen some highlight reel saves from him, but he also makes those ones that, it gets this reaction out of you, which is tremendous positioning.
Absolutely. I mean, it didn't get a crazy animation or anything, but that was just brilliantly played. Came out to challenge a little bit when King of Apes jumped into the play, took nearly a point-blank wrist shot, and he just casually gloves it aside.
Loose puck there in front. Eki able to recover it. There by Domi, loses it back to Loimu. Playmaker, bit of space, takes the shot. Rebound, Loimu, just wide. Couldn't get a clean chance at sweeping that one home. That's King of Apes, his shot on. Kape the save, no rebound to be found. We'll have a face-off in the Frölunda zone.
It's good to see the hREDS, they never really change up their style from anyone. They're always throwing pucks on from those tight angles. They don't care who's in net. They're just going to test you. And I love that mentality from hREDS. It's just basically them saying, we don't care who we're going up against. You're going to adjust to us.
6 minutes gone here in this second period. hREDS again in the attacking zone. King of Apes shot, blocked down by Potzloff. And again, unbelievable work from King of Apes and Domi. You have to call out the best defense pair in all of NHL esports. I will easily make that claim. It is astonishing how well they shut down top-notch talent on a consistent basis as well. Sid. I mean, they have been unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just absolutely, and I mean they completely know it, and they work hard at it. They understand where they're at right now, and they always kind of are wanting to get better and shut things down even more.
Benito's pass doesn't go through. Good forechecking pressure by hREDS to win it back. Great chance, but Kape able to make that short side save as hREDS continuing to get the better of the chances here, but still looking for that opening goal.
It's just a nice bit of work down low on the forecheck, kicking the puck out into that slot, hoping for a recipient. Nicky was right there, gets the shot away, but Kape was also right there and turned it aside.
There's that one out to Potzloff. Potzloff again circling back, trying to find space. We're already halfway through this period and not much happening offensively. For Frölunda here still through this game. Jump and chase here. Two men going after him. Great puck chop, though, by Loimu. But still, it's hREDS getting possession back. Domi for Villapoika. Last year's player of the season, league leading scorer. Absolute monster in the playoffs as well. Potzloff, a little bit of trouble. Eckes pass off the mark, going to be just to the right of the goaltender, and an icing is called.
Yeah, and when two teams as good as positioning as these two, it doesn't take you're never going to see those really large kind of out of position plays, but you notice all the little small ones from that shot play of Loimu behind the net. It almost seemed like his teammates were expecting a battle instead, so they all shifted a little bit too far from the right, and that's kind of created a bit more of a chance for hREDS to generate some forecheck and get another potential look at the net, but didn't end up going that way. It's just, you can really just see all the little battles all across the ice that take place in this matchup.
Here, Flyer Kungan can make an impact. He does. As he falls to the ice, he was tripped. And Domi, who at times Sin has had some disciplinary troubles, ends up taking the trip here that could open the door for Frölunda.
Yeah, and I don't think he was expecting that that puck guard to be coming out from Flyer Kungan, holding down the X. He's one of the few who utilizes it to its full capabilities, and I really like that. And in that case, it drew a penalty.
Top three power play against the top penalty kill in the league. Do believe hREDS have only allowed a single goal in a shorthanded situation as FaZe is able to hold the line off of some very unorthodox opportunities, to say the least.
That first one was ridiculous. Shot from Potzloff. It took a couple bounces, and then FaZe still had to make the blocker save at the end of the day here, but good-looking power play so far from Frölunda.
Loimu has it. In front, nearly tapped home by Eckes. Great net front positioning. And Sin, that's the thing we've talked about with hREDS the entire time. You finally get chances, and you still have to beat one of the best goaltenders in the world.
Absolutely, and you're seeing Frölunda struggle with that right here. Some really good A-grade opportunities just being turned aside by FaZe.
Potzloff for Eckes. It's blocked and right back out to the neutral zone. Halfway now through this man advantage. Domi in the box for tripping and an offside call there. The clock stops with exactly 3 minutes to go here in the second. We still look for our opening goal.
We talk so much about how hard it can be to regain the line when you lose it on the power play, perhaps even magnified when you're going up against a team like hREDS. As good as Frölunda is, they've lost that zone here. They've been struggling to get it back, and you're going to see another clear and not a whole lot of time left to set up on this power play.
Another offside call with just 15 seconds to go. And Sim, we've seen that across the board in this division. So difficult to reestablish the offensive zone once you lose possession, even if you do have the man advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
That will just about do it for the power play. hREDS back to even strength. We'll see if there is a late goal for either side. Hit the final minute. A little bit of space here for Eckes. The spin, the pass, and nobody home. I wonder if eventually we see the idea of just throw a puck on and good things might happen for either side here. I mean, the goaltenders always play with that little bit of doubt in the back of their mind, as Villapoika just couldn't get that one. One-timer, great block by Playmaker, and that will do it for the second period. And as I was going to say, that doubt in the back of your mind as a goaltender, you just never know. You could be in a great position and the puck can still go in.
Yeah, or it can bounce off you in a precarious way. Your rebound control seems to be set to 0 for at least one shot, and it goes right to the stick of an opponent. You know, anything can happen there. But again, yeah, I think both these teams love to look for those higher quality chances, and you know, the shot totals are decent for between these two teams, kind of what you expect. They at times don't shoot the puck a whole heck of a lot, but they really are able to get some of those high quality chances. But again, both of them are the highest shooting teams in this league. I think first place for hREDS and second place for Frölunda. But I think that just kind of speaks to how tight this matchup is, how hard it is to get some of those clean looks. I mean, the positioning for both of these guys defensively, if you want to throw that puck on net, you still got to be worried about, you know, the shot blocks coming out. And when that shot is blocked, that transition game can happen. And I think if you're either of these two teams, the last people you want to see on a breakaways, you know, Playmaker, Villapoika, Nicky, you know, Flyer, all these guys just so dangerous. So I think that's where some of the kind of, you know, more hesitation to just kind of throw the puck on can come from at times. But I definitely have to agree. Other times, if you have that open look, if you get a little bit of time and space, throw that puck on.
There we go. Third period underway. First goal could be enough to win it, although with these two teams, you never say never, and there it is! Off the one-timer, Domi buries it and gives hREDS the lead with his 6th of the season, just 47 seconds into the third period.
Just a beautiful job of maintaining spacing right there for hREDS, but also getting deeper into the zone there. They understood the Frölunda collapse was coming. They passed back to King of Apes, and he and Domi had crept in a bit further, almost to the higher part of the circle there. He kicks it over to Domi for the one-timer, and from that kind of distance, so hard for Kape to be able to fully adjust and keep that one out of the net. 1-0 for hREDS.
Looking for another one there. Playmaker able to take it away. What a play! Opportunity down the other way. Flyer Coogan scores! We are tied just moments later. What a way to start off this third period. Flyer Coogan, the breakaway goal.
You're seeing right there why he joined this Frölunda squad and why he's always been so dangerous here in this elite division. It's his use of poke checks and defensive skill stick. You saw it on display right there, forcing the turnover at the blue line, then having a crazy burst of speed, getting one-on-one with FaZe and burying it. Tie game for Frölunda.
And we are right back to where we began just 2.5 minutes ago. Unbelievable how quickly the tides can turn. I was about to say it's all the pressure on Frölunda. Playmaker goes down, and Frölunda will have their second power play opportunity of the game. And again, it is Domi on the trip. You know, he giveth with the goal, and he taketh in terms of the momentum in hRED's favor.
Thought that was actually going to be Villapoika on the other side. But yeah, you're right, from the inside. Domi right there. Again, another tripping penalty. This is kind of what he does. He can kind of take penalties in clumps here. So another big opportunity for Frölunda.
A big blocker save by FaZe. Again, for those just joining us, first and foremost, where have you been? But secondly, again, the first game officially a forfeit, also called a walk-on. Frölunda getting the win there. Again, hREDS unable to properly field or ice a team. Call it what you will, as FaZe is able to cover that one. But they were ready to go for this second matchup. And first 2 periods goalless. We started off incredibly fast here in the third. With a goal apiece. Now again, Frölunda, their second power play of the game, but the puck sent down, and just like that, down to 40 seconds to play here on the man advantage. Nicky able to pick that one up. Villapoika's able to drop it a bit further back. King of Apes clears, and just like that, the top-rated PK, just one blemish on the record. They kill off another one here, and who knows what the next twist to the tail might be as they go for the dump and chase. Potsloff to that far side corner. Domi being hounded there by Flyer Kungan, one of the best at puck retrievals in this league. And the playmaker, he scores! The forechecking pressure for Frölunda pays off. They come back. 2 goals here in the third. It's 2-1.
Absolutely unreal performance there on the forecheck, primarily from Eki, stopping that play up the boards with the defensive skill stick, retrieving the puck, dodging the hit from the defender, feeding it over to Playmaker, who goes to the forehand and beats face Frölunda. A quick couple goals here in this third period. All of a sudden, they're up by 1.
Unbelievable turn of events here. hREDS scoring just, 47 seconds into the period. Yet here is Frölunda, now with a 2-1 lead. Wasn't all that long ago, Sim. What was it, 34 seconds of time on attack in the first period for Frölunda?
Yeah.
I do believe, and King of Apes had no problem pointing that out in chat. And now all of a sudden, well, here we go. Frölunda has the lead, so you get a little bit spicy, and sometimes it can come back to haunt you, but we do have a long way to go in this one. We saw a goal with 0.2 seconds remaining in our first matchup between Yipivoskala and Roots. So never over until that final horn sounds as hREDS here with Nike loose. Puck and Kappa is able to find it in the crease. 9:36 to play in regulation.
And I think one hREDS player got a whack at it right there, and who else would it be but Villapoika? He has a nose for those loose pucks, found himself in a situation to get a whack at it, but as you said, Kappa able to find it, and rare jump from Eki.
Ooh, Benito denied by the glove. Another big save here from Kape, beaten just once in this game so far, despite some quality chances. See what happens again on this draw. You see how close the face-off battle has been, and indeed now Frölunda up 14-12. Turnover here, though, and it sneaks in! Nikke has tied the game at 2, beating Kape on the short side.
And that's a tough kind of break right there. He gets a massive piece of it, but it still finds its way in. That was a bit of a rough turnover there, and Nikke capitalizing on it and just doing what he does best, just kind of throwing it on, testing that short side, and hard to see from there. Looked like Kape was in position, but he didn't get a clean save on it, and as he sort of slid to the right ever so slightly, I think the puck just kind of trickled in behind him there. So at the 8:53 mark of the third period, this game is all tied up at 2.
So turnover that unfortunately can't happen. Frölunda win the draw in their own zone. Not able to get that puck out, and hREDS make them pay. Here's Domi stepping in. Chance save by Kape.
Just a beautiful bit of skating from Domi there, all the way from the point, weaving his way through with the L skating and then getting the shot on net. Not an easy thing to accomplish against a team with as good of a defensive structure as Frölunda, but he did it right there.
Václav forced to hold up at center ice. 7 minutes to go now here in the second period. Stretch pass for Recchi. Some payoff, and it's hREDS now going back down the other way. Recchi says no, gets things going here for Frölunda. Playmaker, head of steam, into the zone. Flyer Kungan down low. Have the go-ahead goal, draws another call. And for the third time, Frölunda will get to go to work on the power play. This time it is Villapoika to the box for that hit.
Yeah, just a little bit too far after Flyer Kungan had lost the puck. It wasn't a bad opportunity for Villapoika to make a play in that scenario there. It was a good look, but unfortunately for him, takes one in yet another power play for Frölunda.
This is the one to take advantage of. As you see, they have gotten shots. Here's Václav running into a bit too much trouble. They do win it back. Chance for Playmaker, it's blocked. Václav keeps it in. Now for Loimu. Tried to go in front. Loose puck, Eki on the doorstep, denied. Still in possession. Playmaker for Loimu. Václav, great quick movement here. They pull the trigger, and a save by FaZe with Eki right in his face.
Yeah, and unfortunately for London, no rebound present on that. Not too sure how FaZe even saw that, much less control the rebound, but control it he did. 1:06 left on the man advantage.
Crucial face-off. Clean win for Recchi. Playmaker down low. Václav stepping in to try and hold it. Domi does win it back. Over 4, King of Apes. Circles to the forehand. Gets it back to Domi. More precious time ticked off the clock. Benito Gonna try to give this a go on the shorthanded situation. He's stifled by Loimu. 20 seconds now on the power play. Eki gains the line. Trying to hold on to it. It's Flyer Kungen back for Potzloff. We are back to even strength. Eki, Flyer Kungen, short side. Couldn't find the space. 3 minutes to play here in regulation. King of Apes over for Domi. Trying to lead it down the other way. Flyer Kungen, great job on the back pressure. Playmaker, self-sauce. Can't get around Domi. Only playing one game today are these two. Again, first result, a walkover / forfeit victory for Frölunda. These two teams certainly delivering here in the third period as we hit the final minute of play. And here's Nike, loses it on the poke check, and we'll have a face-off.
I mean, this is an absolutely beauty of a game between these two. Exactly what you want in this sort of matchup. Tight until the very end. A little bit of everything. Strong defense, some good offense, some odd man, some breakaways, and just some really, really beautiful goals being scored as well. Some special teams time too, but mostly on the side of Frölunda.
Eki shot. Big save there by Face. Thought Playmaker might get a piece of it. Villapoinka takes it away. Benito tried to go back to him, and again, hREDS offside.
Yeah, it was a good bit of a good job by Flyer Kungen to adjust and get back on the back check right there. That could have been almost a tiny bit of an odd man situation for hREDS, but Flyer Kungen did a really good job of kind of getting in the face of the potential pass recipient and breaking that one up just enough to disrupt it and turn it into an offside.
Gain the line. hREDS, though, take it away. It's Nike. Burst of speed. Drops back for King of Apes. Poked away momentarily. Now sent around the back of the goal. Villapoinka for Domi. He goes back down low. Nike's there. Gonna watch out for the short side attempts. King of Apes to Domi. Back again. One-timer save. Loimu has the rebound. Now Flyer Kungen. 2 seconds, and that will do it. Both teams picking up a point here in regulation, but it will take overtime to decide this one.
Maybe only having one game between these two, but they're definitely, of course, always going to give us our money's worth. So often these two teams find themselves in overtime situations, and one more time for them in this one too. The only time they're going to meet up in the regular season here, and with the seeding, the way the seeding's going to work, likely the only other time that they'll meet up is in that potential finals. And, you know, both teams have their sights set on getting right back there. You see Frölunda there, just an explosion of shots. I'd love to see that from them, from really both these teams. The time on attack is limited. You know that's going to kind of be the case in this matchup, so you got to get your money's worth. Both of them kind of ripping shots on from pretty much everywhere they can find it. Odd angles, as we saw, you know, Nike getting that goal earlier on, just testing that short side. We saw King of Apes doing that. It was turned aside, and really no hesitation. They get, again, the tiniest bit of time and space, quick one-timers, quick shots, looking for rebounds here. And this overtime is going to be definitely exciting between these two clubs. Neither of them are really the type who won't take chances. Another odd, rare jump from Eki on the face-off there.
Overtime underway. Next goal will win it. Will be here for as long as it takes, and it nearly didn't take long. Kape able to make that save early on. Again, you never know. Send one shot can certainly be enough. So, loose puck. Eki able to recover it. Flyer Kungen for Playmaker. Playmaker again. Short side shot. Loose puck. Poke back to the point. Loimu throws it on. Eki again on the doorstep. Just couldn't get a clean piece of it. Villapoinka draws the trip. Will they need the extra attacker? They are going to... No, they're not. Faye is yet to leave the net. There he goes now. It's the first penalty of the game for Frölunda, and it might just be the decider. It's going to be Potzloff going to the box.
Yeah, just an unfortunate kind of play right there. Not a bad position to poke from, but just kind of got caught up in the skates of Villapoinka here. So we're going to get to see that hREDS power play go to work. And, well, they're tied for the third best with Frölunda.
Loimu has this puck here now. Short-handed bit perhaps for Frölunda off the skates. hREDS in control for the moment, having trouble with the forechecking pressure. Benito gets it to Nikkei. Now King of Apes looking across, just wide for Villapoica on the short side. A shot there, rebound, handled by Loimu for the moment. Benito wins it back. 45 to go on the man advantage. Nikkei tried to go across, Villapoica's shot stopped. Another battle for it in the corner. hREDS win it. Benito, the shot scores! It sneaks across the line. hREDS take it in overtime. 3-2 over Frölunda to cap off their regular season.
Just a great bit of forechecking pressure from hREDS. That's what it came down to. They are so hungry on those loose pucks, especially on the power play. They know they're going to get an outnumbered situation down low. They're scary enough when forechecking in one-on-one situations, but you're able to outnumber them 2-1, 3-2 like they were able to do. Continue to keep it in right there. That's just kind of a bit of an unfortunate one for Kape right there. Just, again, kind of a couple of them where he just was in pretty solid position, but the goals just kind of snuck in right there, and unfortunate for him. But hREDS very, got to be happy with that result right there. And again, big overtime performance from them. But with all things considered, Frölunda does walk away with 3 out of 4 points at the end of the day, so that should help create a bit of distance between them and Salvo Esports when it comes down to the potential seeding for the playoffs.
Absolutely, again, 3 out of 4 points on the day for Frölunda. It is a bit of a shame that we are only going to see the one game between these two teams. Of course, we knew already heading into this matchup, hREDS certainly locking down that top seed heading into the playoffs, but this was a huge result for Frölunda to move forward here and try to secure that 2 seed against Sawo, who, again, might feel the most hard-pressed by the first result being what it was. But regardless, a big moment there for hREDS to get that overtime victory. And, Sin, again, one of those things that we kind of talk about, it was the only moment that we'll get to see of these two teams going head to head this season. And again, heartbreaker there for
Yeah.
Kape just for it to go in the way that it did.
Absolutely. I mean, again, that's kind of good position. He could have been out maybe a bit further, but at the same time, you risk kind of getting caught on the post right there in that scenario. And if that rebound kicks across to another side, it's just hard to kind of get back for that. So yeah, that's a couple goals that probably in that game Kappa would have won it back, but really just not really any, just kind of come down to sort of bounces at the end of the day. And again, they still get a point out of that matchup by taking it to overtime. So still a good day at the office for Frölunda. A tight, exciting game between these two clubs, of course, as always. And we may be just still finding both of them in the finals once again.
Perhaps more fuel added to the fire of what has proven to be an unbelievable rivalry between these two clubs. Don't know if we have it fully updated for the moment, but we will take a look at the standings. And of course, we will know the result from the top two here when it comes to the standings. So, of course, hREDS finished their season on 54 points. For London, now up to 28 games played and on 45 points. So, with 2 games left, 3 points at hand on Sawo. Huge result, Sim, because of course tomorrow you and I will be back to cover Frölunda's final 2 games of their season. Simply put, they get the job done and they will lock down that 2 seed.
Absolutely. And they're taking on ZSC. That's kind of a tough break for ZSC, who are trying to perhaps find their way into that playoff spot. And it's going to be extremely tough, obviously, in that matchup. But they did manage to get, some points off of hREDS earlier on this season. And with 2 overtime losses, they got 2 points out of that matchup. Is absolutely massive. ZSC, just one of those teams that continues to hang around. But, they're really hoping to find themselves in a playoff position in this season, especially. They've been here for a few seasons, have stayed in this division, but they haven't quite been able to get over that hump and become a playoff team.
So again, 30 games is where the regular season ends. We will continue our coverage tomorrow. Again, 1945 CEST for those more local, and of course about 1:45 p.m. Eastern for those of you on the North American side. As again, Frölunda will finish their regular season against CSC Esports, and you would have seen them towards the bottom half of the standings. A very big matchup in terms of potential relegation implications. It is the Fallon Coal Miners taking on Stargazing. You're not going to want to miss that. Again, our week 6 coverage continues tomorrow as we look to finish up this regular season. an incredible broadcast here today, even with the pause in between the action. Again, a big thank you for those of you that stuck with us, and a big thank you to Frölunda as well for the patience that they displayed. Sin and I will be back tomorrow as the season again continues to hurtle towards that 30 game mark for every single team. Of course, sportsgamer.gg for all the information that you need. We very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow for again two very important matchups there. But Sin, the final word perhaps before we look to wrap things up.
I mean, what else can you say? Even in just one game between these two, they deliver the excitement that could be in a two-game series, and you see why they continue to find each other in the finals here. And definitely not what we expected at today's matchup, but perhaps a situation like this just adds a bit more of a bitterness and a feeling of unfinished business between these two teams if they do end up meeting in that finals once again.
Absolutely. So again, we will be back here live tomorrow. Just waiting word here as to whether or not we have anything else to plug. Perhaps let's wait for the official word there before perhaps wrapping up this particular broadcast. But again, Sin, it was great to be able to see those two specific matchups. And what do you say? Do we go for it? Do we go for it? Do we? I was wondering if we were saving this announcement for the very end of the season. We got word. So, everybody, hi, how you doing? For those of you still staying here. So, there's an announcement that we have been looking to make for what, 3 years now, Sin. 3
Yeah,
years
years.
we've been here with our coverage, our lovely Wilhelm sponsored coverage. And we get to make it official finally, everybody. June 17th and 18th are the finals for this spring season, right? And then the next day, the 19th, if there is a grand final. If we can't confirm that yet. But June 17th and 18th, there is a championship round for this spring season. And how do we phrase this, Sin? How do we phrase this after 3 years? We're going to be there. We will be there in Finland, live, Wilhelm snacks in hand, as we crown a spring division champion. So to all the boys there, especially hREDS after that nonsense today, yeah, we're watching you. I know King of Apes is tall. I can punch up. Let's go. On time, on schedule, on point for the rest of the way. Or there will be hell to pay. Sin's from California. He can throw hands.
Yeah.
Sin, we've waited 3 years for this moment. We will be live in Finland covering the final. Yeah, kind of crazy to think. A month from now, we will be there to cover the final, and hopefully, we'll see what happens. Either we continue to crown hREDS as champions for the third season in a row and ultimately the grand championship, or we set the stage for a grand final. But
I mean,
it's
yeah.
finally happening. We'll get to cover the event live in person. Very much looking forward to it.
Either way, it turns out it's going to be a heck of a few days there, way across the pond in Finland, which yeah, we've been looking forward to being able to visit that place for so long. We thought we may have been able to earlier on in the year, but things being the way they were, the way of the world, it hasn't quite happened yet. But we are just completely thankful for the opportunity, of course, to be out there, and we get to watch some incredible hockey to cap it all off. It's just going to be quite a great couple days there for sure. And yes,
So
Wilhelm,
Wilhelm,
I'm coming for your snacks. It's
prep
been
your inventory. We're coming. You got 1 month's notice to prep that inventory because we are on the way. Again, everybody, we will see you tomorrow for tomorrow's broadcast. A big thank you to those behind the scenes that help make Sin and I look as good as we do. And we will see you all tomorrow. And to the players, we'll see you in Finland in a month. How about that?